Anime is a Japanese colloquialism. This is a chicken salad sandwich on a bagel. I'm going to review it. The industry can fucking burn if it's going to have these terrible ideas, you know? Maybe the industry deserves to die.
Look at these fucking idiot teenagers.
This punk bitch motherfucker, I am a human machine. Can't fucking do it anymore.
Welcome everyone to the next episode of Feeding the Content Machine. On this podcast we have Ghuntz. Say something.
Hello, how are you all doing?
And we also have our guest for this week, Laffer. Say something.
Hi!
Yay! So, yeah, welcome everyone. This is the show where we discuss Digi's content, because we are his wallet and we think things. Is that an accurate thing to say?
Do we think things, actually? Or
no, I'm just a sheep.
You're just a sheep. Well, your profile picture on Discord almost looks like a sheep. It's like this little white fluffy thing. So yeah, I always thought of you like a sheep.
Alright.
Yeah, coming to you this week then, we have, I guess this time in Laffer, so you are completing our global representation on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm from Australia, so...
Yeah, we now...
So we got one person in Australia, one person in Europe, and one person in America.
Yep, we are completing the globe. We just need someone in India and we'll cover the entire thing. I was making a point earlier about how in art, right, when you draw a picture, you try to make it the rule of thirds. You try to cover up different things in different thirds of the picture to really get the framing right. And we have now rule of thirds the world with our representation.
It's pretty neat.
Isn't technology awesome?
Technology is pretty freaking awesome. So, what we're going to do this week? Well, first we're going to say hello like this. We're going to give Laffer a chance to tell us who he is. Then we're going to jump into the content roundup rundown, which is the part where we discuss Digi's content during the past segment of time. Then we're going to jump into what we call the Digging Deep, which is where we do a deep dive into one of Digi's old content things. This time I've picked out a content to discuss. And then we're going to see if there's any Ghost news or otherwise just say goodbye. Does that sound like a good system?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Alright, so...
Yeah, take it away,
Should
Laffer.
I start?
Who are you?
Alright, I am LafferStyle. I am what you would call a big baby boy. I give Digibro $25 every month on the month. Wait, yeah.
Yeah.
I got introduced to Digibro through our anime, the Reddit board, subreddit. I first saw his video, Distinguishing Cute Girls anime, and I saw his, there was this little clip in there where he was holding up an android, and taking a big chunk out of some bread to demonstrate that he likes bread and cute girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was pretty quirky.
Yeah,
and yeah, on our anime, he already had a reputation. You know, he's this guy who wasted his time making a 13-part series breaking down why this crappy show, why we already know it sucks, why it just sucks even more.
Yeah.
So
And then me and Gun spent all last episode for like 12 minutes talking about that waste of time with our waste of time. It's almost like talking isn't a waste of time.
That's all Digi does.
Waste everyone's time.
Yeah, I wanted to figure out why if this thing was actually a waste of time. So, you know, you go to the first episode, you boot it up, click on the YouTube video, and before I knew it, I was on episode 11.
Cool.
And I drew the line there. I said, you know, he's gone so far away from this topic that he's now reviewing this other show. And so I just left it for like a month or so. And then when I came back and rewatched it, and I finally watched that last video, I thought, yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah. That's great.
About May or so,
Mm-hmm.
May 2016, I saw on the front page of our anime there was this thing about 3x3s, the boring taste or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the original drama video.
And yeah, the first one. And so I was intrigued. I clicked on it. There's this guy with this really big, long, scraggly beard, and he's wearing sunglasses indoors.
What I like to call the gremlin look.
Yeah.
But he had interesting things to say. So there was another follow-up video to that, where I forgot what the follow-up video was about, but that was still interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He had like 2
And
follow-up
I
videos
think-
to that one.
Oh, all right. And so I consider that where I started following Digibro After Dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then in about December of last year, I got into Digibros, the Let's Play channel.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Digi and Devu, and Digi and Vic playing. Digi and Devu were playing Wario World, and Digi and Vic were playing. What was it? Well, they were playing a game. I forgot what it is now.
Yeah.
And shortly after he released what was it called? Shortly after he released Above the Earth Haunted, or around the time he released it, I got into Bedroom Bedrock, and I think I bought that album. So it's it's one of the few albums that I actually bought.
Yeah.
And
That's around the time when I got into his music too, because I remember seeing the music video for what is that song called? The big screamy one, the second to last one. It's the Final Stretch music video, and the aesthetic in that video is so fucking insane that even if I didn't really feel the music too much, the music fit the video so much, and the visuals of that music video were so fucking insane that I listened to it like 30 times in a row when I first found it, just to see the visuals. And by the end of it, I've gotten so accustomed to the sound that I just naturally loved the rest of the music as well, because it became this internalized sensation of liking this music.
I guess I'm the same way.
Yeah. So yeah, you got into him around the second quarter of 2016.
Well, that's deep into him. So around March this year, I got a job, so I decided I can start patroning Digibro, and so here I am.
Yay!
That's my favorite videos. If I could go over that.
Yeah, sure. Let's do one or two.
Yeah, my favorite main channel video is Aesthetic is Narrative.
It's great, because we're going to talk about it today.
My favorite After Dark video is Bathos.
Yeah.
Like the history of Bathos.
Yeah, you're in the same crowd as us here. That's the best video.
My favorite song would probably be Waves at Dawn.
Okay.
My favorite Let's Play, probably the Ape Escape 2 Let's Play. Wait, no, sorry, it's the original Ape. I think it's
the one with all of the PCP in it.
Yeah.
That's the Redcon one, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's about it.
Cool. So now we know who Laffer is. So we're going to just move on to the main segment of this show, which is the content roundup rundown. A title so good that I cannot pronounce it. So what happened this week is that we basically said that this show would not be a weekly show. It would just come out whenever this content roundup thing came out, whenever Digibro actually posted it to Patreon. And the point of that was that we didn't really care when they came out. We would just talk about whatever came out when it came out. But then when we released this episode, in the Discord lounge, Digibro said, "Oh, that's cool. I'll just make sure I get this content roundup up onto the Patreon."
Yeah, because he saw it. He like actually saw our episode as we said he wasn't going to do.
Yeah, which blew my mind. But then again, it is very flattering to have a podcast about you, I guess, and it's the self-indulgent thing. But what he said was, "I'm going to do the content roundup," and he said this twice. On Wednesday or Thursday, he said like, "Oh, it's gonna come up Friday night," and then Saturday he was like, "Oh, yeah, I just gotta remind myself to actually do the damn content roundup today." And because of this, we scheduled this podcast, and we said like, "Oh, we're just gonna do this now," and I sat down, I calculated time zones for a while and tried to get everyone to have their schedule free to do this podcast. And then the content roundup never came up. So that means I made our own content roundup because I sat down for 10 minutes, which is what it takes to write one of these. And I rounded up all of Digi's content that we basically came out after the main channel video about high school anime that we talked about last time.
This is the guy that we spend $25 on every month.
Yeah, dude.
You know, knowing Digi, knowing Digi, he'll probably have his content roundup like the moment after we finish this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. The second we finish recording, it will be like, "Oh, it's up on Patreon." Cool. No, but I made my own one. So we're going to use that as a basis for this podcast. And you both have it in front of you, the little document I wrote. So
do you want to post a link to this image in the description?
Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. That would be great. So, at the top of the content rundown, we have Digi Made Do. And what's come out since last time is the first episode of Hyperlight Drifter and also their entire Dragon Quest Builder series, which was 3 episodes long. Anyone want to start?
Yeah, I watched all of Dragon Quest Builders, and those were very low-key. You know, the gameplay was kind of like this JRPG style Minecraft thing, so it was very peaceful to just listen to, and the conversations were also you know, about their past and about relating to starts at the YouTube channel and stuff like that, and they were okay. But this first Hyperlight Drifter video is great, and I think it's one of their best ever, because first of all, the gameplay itself is pretty good, the game looks great, and the topics that they jump into are some of the most fascinating ones that they have talked about in a while. Them being the sex education between May, Digi, and Digi's brothers, which I found really interesting.
And Ben and Jackie. They said that they roped in Ben and Jackie as well.
Yes.
Vic and Hope. Vic and Hope were listening to the live stream of Ben and Jackie. So there's this big, I don't know what you might call it, a big meta puddle or something like that.
They got 3 couples in.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the other one being this really cool like coincidence in Digi's past about the fact that he had this game in mind, which is called Save the Lollies.
If you've listened to the pub crawl, you would have known about this since late last year, I would say.
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch those pub crawl videos.
I heard about it there.
But the fact that the game that he was playing, Hyperlight Drifter, he was commenting about the fact that it was like aesthetically exactly what he wanted, and that component, like the fact that he was describing this video game, while playing the video game that he most closely resembled it, I found to be like a really cool dynamic, and it made watching the video much more engrossing, because you're like, oh, like I can imagine like how this would play out and like rescuing the lollies and stuff like that. It was really cool.
Yeah. So as usual, I don't watch Digi May Do, so if Laffer has anything more to say about it, then please do.
I listened to all 4 of them, but I only realized, oh hey, I'm going to be on the podcast just today. So I've only taken notes for Hyperlight Drifter.
Mhm.
There's this first thing that he brought up that he's talking about Kickstarters, and there was this really specific thing about the plebe and the weeb, and Digi said that the worst case scenario for the plebe and the weeb is that Jesse will just give up, and he'll oh, am I breaking up?
No, it's fine. Keep going.
The worst case scenario for the plebe and the weeb is that Jesse will give up and just give it to someone else to edit. And I kind of think differently because Digi's mentioned this before that like this is for people in depression, but I think it might apply to Jesse. That he'll think that he can edit it, and like this is a massive undertaking. This is like 10 hours of footage or something. So he'll think that he can edit it, and he's got this perfectionist vision for it. And so he'll think this has to be perfect. I have to edit it in this right frame of mind. So he'll keep on delaying it, and he'll say, yes, I can do it. But I'm just not sure that the plebe and the weeb will. Well, hopefully it'll get done, but who knows?
That really sucks, though.
Yeah.
Because what about all those people that donated, all that money? That put all that money into that, was it a Kickstarter?
Yeah. I think that like we in the Discord, in Digibro's Patreon Discord, which you can join if you pay $1 to Digibro's Patreon. In his Discord, we meme that whether we debate whether this will come up first or the next Eva rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think eventually it'll come out, but just a matter of how long it's gonna take. Like these were supposed to be edited so that they could come out weekly, but Digi said it's been 4 months, so
I think they're gonna come out sooner or later. I don't really worry that much about them. I'm more worried about. I just want them to be good, man. If they're good, I don't care if I have to wait 3 years for them. Honestly, I just want them to be good.
Because they're like, they're sort of like Plinkett videos in a way.
Yeah.
How do you mean?
They come out, every couple months, or they come out maybe like you don't get Plinkett reviews a whole year. You don't get Plinkett reviews, and when they come out, it's like this big event that you sit down and watch with a drink. It's like this, it's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the Plebe and the Weeb is that I don't watch it for it to be insightful. I watch it for it to be funny, which is why I don't really want Digi to do the editing for it. I really appreciate that Jess does the editing, because Jess editing is just so fucking funny. Like that zoom in he did on Digi's legs when they were shaking and then cutting to a rocket. It's like, that is one of my favorite fucking edits of all time, man. It's so good. Because the entire video, everyone watching a video is thinking about Digi's legs because they're shaking and shaking and shaking. And you're thinking, oh, they're just ignoring this. Oh, they're trying to make us not think about it. And then Jesse will just zoom in on it, slowly making you realize, oh wait, this is happening. They're gonna call out the legs. And then you think it's just going to be some kind of joke from Jesse in the studio about the legs. But no, it's editing Jesse who fucking wrecks Digi with this insane joke about the rocket. It's genius. It's this artistic fucking genius that only Jesse can pull off. And that's why I'm really happy that no matter how long it takes, I really hope he does the editing. And I hope he does it as well as he's done the other things.
I think the best part about that scene is the fact that Digi is just talking constantly over it. And it just seems like the point is to drown out his incessant bullshit and just focus on the legs.
Yeah. Because it's sort of about taking away something of Digi's, this presence he has of this smart guy. And sometimes he goes into this mode where he completely forgets about his context and just starts droning on about something, or about this idea he has, and he kind of loses this self-awareness in the moment. And what Jesse does is calling out this lack of self-awareness, this lack of knowing that your legs are shaking when you're making this point. that real, and he doesn't care about Digi's point at all. He drowns out the sound. You can barely hear what he's saying after a while, and you don't care what he's saying because it's not fun. It's not as great as the funny joke that Jesse's pulling off, which I think is really the core of the Plebe and the Wee being funny rather than insightful. That I really enjoy.
I mean, to be fair, after like the rocket gag is over, and they cut back to the set, you have Jess there making a comment that we're back from Digi blasting off into space or something like that.
Yeah, and
so
that's the comment that like breeds this joke, right? That's the punchline that's so perfect, and that's a part of Jesse's comedy is that he can sort of predict what future Jesse will do in the editing and make the punchline in advance. That's some next level shit, man.
That's pretty crazy. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else to say about Digi May Do?
There's one thing I want to talk about on the meta level. So, this the Hyperlight Drifter, it came out. It came out before the let's see. It came out before the Digi and May. Not Digi and May. Before the Vic and Hope Let's Play, where they talked about sex. So, the way that it seems like it's been scheduled is that Digi he'll watch the Let's Plays, and then he'll try and slot it in after the one that he's seen. But I guess that didn't happen here. So what we get, if you're watching these as they come out, what we get is that Digi he responds to Vic, and then Vic makes his statements. So I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds pretty great. So we're running a bit long on this segment, so let's just move on to scoring every show. I finished up to number 9. Because he put out 9 episodes by now. Do we have anything new to say that we didn't cover on the last episode about this?
I like the fact that he's talking about hentai now, and that he's gotten to the OVAs and hentai stuff.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
I mean, I've gotten some good recommendations from that, and I've had a good weekend just to gloss over some of those, so good job on that, Digi.
Yeah, let's just beat around the bush here. One part that all of us like Digi is because he won't shy away from talking about porn, right? That's for all of us, right?
That's excellent.
Yeah.
It's
like
great.
there was this one show that he was talking about, which is called Stainless Night, 2-episode OVA and it was this Yuri OVA, and it was one of the most beautifully animated porn OVAs I've ever fucking seen in my life. It was great. Seriously, just look at the first episode and look how it's animated and how it looks. It looks like Gunbuster or like Gynax. Good. It's fucking great.
Cool. Anything else to say about scoring every show?
Nah, it's good.
I wanted to talk about like its release. Like I think that the biggest weakness of this show is that it comes out once every 2 days, as opposed to daily. Because with like regular Digibros, I said before that I started watching Digibros in December. So I got this like massive 2 to 3 month period where I got to see a new Let's Play every single day. And then when they were doing the Super Mario 64 Let's Play, I got to see like the same Let's Play every day. So I got this camping feeling, I guess, that I get to know these people. And like I already know Digi. But what I do while I'm watching these like scoring every show videos, I'm playing Super Metroid at the moment. Oh, finished it. But it's kind of this comfort to have this video that that's going to be there. It's going to be 30 minutes, and it's going to be there every single day. And yeah, I just would have liked to see scoring every show I finished come out every day as opposed to every other day. But yeah, I guess that's a nitpick.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that from your perspective. For me, it's a good thing because what happened with why I dropped every show I dropped is that that's a point of time where I fell behind on Digi's content because those videos were so long and they came out so fast that I just had no way of watching them.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, well, I dropped that series, pun intended.
Ironically, yeah.
But like I would have liked to see half an hour every day. Like I feel like that's a good format.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm musing over something that's past.
No, it's fine. Like, your personal reflections are yours to have, and that's fine. I think it's a valid point, definitely. I just want to say that yesterday I rewatched the Scoring Every Show because I wanted to pay more attention to use the booster pack feature that they have to get my backlog bigger. And my backlog went from 190 anime to 214 anime. So I am now even further from ever catching up on anime. Yeah. So, moving on. Or are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Cool. Yeah. My favorite anime, Ponyo and Kill la Kill. So, if we start with Kill la Kill.
Well, as I mentioned on the previous episode of this, this video actually caused me to rewatch the show because it was the first show I ever watched and completed. And it was a great eye-opener for how good the show is, and it turned it into one of my favorites. So, but one of the most fascinating things about it, and he's mentioned this not only in the Discord, but I'm pretty sure in other videos, is the fact that he now has the ability to describe his favorite shows in a quick and concise way that he was never able to do so before.
Yeah. I know Devu was talking about that in the Discord, that Devu said that, like, oh, now Digi's a better writer, so he can finally write about these shows. Laff, do you have anything to say about the Kill la Kill one?
I just want to give props to Devu. Like, I saw him on Twitter and he was like, how do I edit this? So, the fact that he managed to finish editing it, like, and cut in places and make it look good, that's a major feat. This is Devu's favorite anime, so
yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he's a big evangelist for the show all the way through.
For Kill la Kill. Cool.
He was talking about it in the Discord, but Devu mentions that he was thinking about whether or not surpassing the 10 list and making shows like 10.6 or 10.8 or something.
Yeah.
Because then he'd have to move everything else down on the list that wasn't Kill la Kill and Homestuck.
Yeah, that's cool.
And yeah, I mean, look, Kill la Kill is really good. It's definitely a 10. But, Devu, I feel like I want to see his reasons for liking it more so than Digi's, because I get Digi's. And Digi, of course, considers it a favorite, but it isn't his outright favorite. And I've never...
Yeah, Digi said that Kill la Kill is his 9.9, but like he considers it a 10 because 9.9 is so close. But yeah, it's if you're being technical, it's not a straight 10 for Digi.
Yeah.
So with the Ponyo one, this is one that I care a lot about because what Digi really went into in this one is his insane love for its mood. And I mean insane, not that it's an insane opinion, just that it's a very, very strong opinion. Which I really, really appreciate, because I've been waiting for Digi to talk more about Ponyo forever, because it's one of my favorite movies. And Digi's like the only online personality guy who talks about Ponyo with this kind of love. Everyone else considers it like, oh, it's a fine movie, but they don't care about it that much. And I fucking love Ponyo. Like, the first time I watched Ponyo, I went into it not expecting too much, and I watched it with Digi's commentary track that he has way down on his channel. And that was my first time watching the movie. And I just got to hear Digi gush about it the whole time, and I really appreciated that. But in this video, I got to see written, concise Digi really explain why he loves this nice, smooth mood that the show presents, and that was really interesting. But what I also really liked was the initial pondering about the color schemes and how the colors really affect and were unique in Ponyo. Because even if he didn't go too in depth with it, because as he said, he hasn't studied too much color theory, so he can't. But I feel like he really got the emotions of why the colors matter across, and that was really, really interesting to me. I fucking love this Panya video, man.
One of the things that I found interesting was that he was discussing about joy and the exploration of joy in the media, in entertainment and art, and that it's not something that's often explored.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. I mean, if you really look at a lot of favorites lists, or if you look at a lot of stuff that's like really respected, it's mostly stuff dealing with negative emotions and stuff that really hits you hard at the core of existence, and it's kind of ego death inducing in a way. But I find it to be to be able to enjoy something that's just pure happiness is something that I wish more people could be able to do and not consider just escapism. Because that's what, like, I went through the comments of that video, and a lot of people were like, yeah, I agree that, joy is a good thing to explore, but if I watch something that's all joy, I feel like it's escapism and I can't connect with it. So, but like, I understand the point that it's escapism, but that's downplaying severely what exactly it is and how it pulls it off.
I feel like anime and just the consumption of art is escapism in general. So I don't really get that point.
Yep, that's true.
I mean, well, for me, art isn't escapism for me. For me, it's appreciation. For me, enjoyment comes out of appreciation. It's not something that I watch to escape my life in a way that other people do. So, but I can still appreciate when a show or a movie just goes all the way with its happiness. Still, it's very weird for me.
Cool. Do we have anything more to say about my favorite anime?
I really hope they're getting more views, because right now they're not looking very good on the view count.
True.
In comparison to his other videos. I really hope they get more views.
Well, they haven't been out that long either, but let's just hope it gets better. I'm looking forward to the Log Horizon one man. Log Horizon is gonna be great. I hope he writes one about that show.
Log Horizon. Yeah.
It's a show he hasn't talked about enough.
I thought Devu or he mentioned that it was gonna be like 13 videos.
But I thought, maybe.
I hope it's a series.
We're gonna get Ghost in the Shell, so that's pretty cool.
It is cool. So moving on. Rixty Minutes happened twice. Neither me nor Ghuntz watched the show. Laffer, do you have anything?
I did watch the show. They were talking about the show.
Yeah.
One interesting thing that they were talking about was they were talking about the meta of Dan Harmon, the creator.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like this egomaniac, I guess. He's got a big ego, and he's working with the other creator. I forgot what his name was, but at the end of the most recent episode, which is at the end of the most recent episode, Morty's Mind Blowers, there's this small quip where one of the characters says to Rick and Morty, yeah, you two are always fighting, and that's why you're behind on schedule, or something like that. And so Digi thought that was like really cool insight. Like, this show, it took like 1.5 years to come out after the previous season, and that's just because like there's this infighting between the two creators. And yeah, I found that interesting. So it's cool to see that Digi can extrapolate that.
Yeah. So moving on, we have the Digibro's turntable video. I can barely fit my dick in my pants. And this is my favorite turntable video so far. Man, this video is so fucking good, because this is the kind of Digibro that I really fell for in the beginning, right? Because one of the things I appreciate so much with Digibro, as I talked a little bit about on the last podcast, is his ability to just go full detective into something and figure out these red threads between creators and really seeing. He has this eye for seeing what each creator brought to a project. Seeing, oh, this is really interesting because you can see his stylistic parts in this show and you can see his stylistic parts in this show. Like when he did the Cowboy Bebop staff rundown, where he followed the history of every single staff member, and you could really see how each individual affected the final product of Cowboy Bebop. And that's what he's finally doing with this song background. Like he's going into, oh, this creator has this style, and this creator has this style, and then they wrote a song for this third guy who has this style, and you can see all these different influences in this song. And man, that was just so good. I fucking love that shit. Because finally Digibro's music stuff feels like his anime stuff.
He gets very personal about whenever he explores like artists. He does so in a way that makes it feel like he knows them personally, or that he knows their mindset when they do art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming into this with like a totally different mindset. I mean, to me, it feels like Digi, like he's 16 years old. He's just discovered that his favorite shows are like directed by this one guy called Akiyuki Shinbo, and this other guy called this other studio called Studio Gainax, and like he's discovering this thing for the first time. But I'm over here just thinking anime is still for kids and it's still porn. So I mean, what I would like is a video or a series of videos or something on how to get into Digibro music. And I think he could have done that, like his worst to best reviews with Opeth and what's the other one?
System of a Down.
Yeah, System of a Down. That you could say that those are intro videos, but then again they're like 50 minutes to an hour long, so much for an intro video.
He should do like a recommendations long video like he did with anime about
No,
albums.
He's done that. My Music History is a video he did in After Dark a while ago.
Oh, okay. But he should do either a more concise and to the point version in his turntable one, because that's, that old video is dug deep beneath all the other After Dark shit.
Yeah.
You should just do something else on the turntable one, because that's fresh and it'll introduce a lot of people to it.
I feel like when Digibro talks about reviewers and analysts, right, he will often say that you need to have a firm understanding of the creator's taste to really appreciate their analysis. For example, he expressed one time that the reason he likes Anthony Fantano so much is not always because they have the same music taste. In fact, they don't. But because he understands Fantano's taste so well because of the vast library of his content that he can really get something out of the analysis of this guy. And also he's funny. So I bet what you're saying would be that Digibro needs to really show off his music taste in a more consumable way in order for people to get this base understanding.
Well, what I would like is just an introduction video. So, like he did how to get into seasonal anime back on his Digibois anime channel. And he did what is the appeal of anime and what is anime and what isn't. Like I would like those types of videos, but specifically for the types of music that Digi likes. And I mean, I don't know if that's possible because, everyone listens to music, but specifically these bands and stuff, specifically these genres that he's into. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I feel as though because music is such a universally listened to thing, and because it's so specific nowadays, and because of that specificity, it's very difficult for him to do a big, large concept video about music. Not because he doesn't understand it or anything, but because his tastes are so honed out that he can't really... Like, it's not something like anime, that you can talk about anime as a concept in a video. You can't really talk about music as a concept in a video because it's so large and it covers so much history and ground.
But you can talk about genres.
Yeah, you could talk about genres, and that'd be a good start. That'd be a good, big video on the channel because it's more widely, conceptual.
What is the appeal of rap music? That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that because I've never been able to get into rap music myself, and I want to understand it more.
Anything else to say about I Can Barely Fit My Dick in My Pants, the best title on this roundup?
Yep, it's good.
Yeah, no, that's about it.
Yeah. So, moving on, we have the Context Crawl, the introductionary episode of the Pub Crawl.
This was great, and the fascinating part is that have you both been longtime fans of Pub Crawl?
About a year for me.
Yeah, same.
See, this is the first Pub Crawl episode I was in, so it worked great as a context, but also as its own episode, and it introduced me to the quirky and very amiable guy that is Cider.
Cider's great.
Sorry, you said that this is the first Pub Crawl episode that you listened to?
Yes, this is my first Pub Crawl episode.
Oh, alright. Okay, you described yourself before as a pony boy, I think?
Yes, I did.
So it's kind of weird that, you're following Digi for all these years and you still haven't gotten into the Pub Crawl.
I didn't find the existence of the Pub Crawl until recently, weirdly enough, because I was obviously a fan of the original Digibroni channel, and all through his evolution towards Digibro After Dark, I remember Digi Does Anime, but Pub Crawl, it completely escaped my grasp. I never found it until recently. I was like, oh shit, he's been doing... I remember back in the day, Cider was a big guy in the community. And I remember that he was doing, he was of Celestial Radio, and he was doing podcasts and stuff, and Digi was part of it, but in my mind, that was like, oh, that's old Digi. That's old Pony Digi when he wasn't now. So it's not, I don't want to really listen to that. But then I discovered recently that, oh yeah, he's been doing this not every single week, but he's been doing this regularly with Cider. And it's turning more into a regular podcast thing. And I didn't know that. So it's another podcast that I'm going to keep up now because it was great.
Yeah. So I've never been into the pony stuff, and I found Digi pretty late, early 2016. But for me, the Pub Crawl, which I binged back on this year, I binged most of it to get a year back in time. I just really like the dynamic between Cider and Digi, as I went over last time. I think they're great co-hosts on a show, and they have good chemistry when they talk, and that's why I like it.
Hearing Cider's near-death experiences, even just a slight bit, was great. Now I want to go back and scan all the old ones for the in-depth stories.
Yeah. I recommend, I don't know which episode it is, so you're going to have to skim it yourself. But if you ever find the episode where Cider talks about going to a convention for people who are writing PhDs and stuff, like a science convention, and him being mad about all of these scientists shitting on his feces for weird reasons, which they had no reason to criticize him for. And he just goes on this epic rant about academia conferences and how bad they are and how much he hated being there. It's awesome.
He did mention how he's in disagreement with academia in this context call.
Yeah, he did, and it's a common theme throughout the podcast.
Interesting.
But specifically the time when he talks about the academic conference is so fucking good. I loved it.
Also, another interesting part, just quickly, about this context call. The fact that it explores a lot about Digi and Cider's relationship with the pony fandom and all that, it was very much a nostalgia thing for me, because it brought back all these memories of Celestial Radio and of the community and how the mindset of the community was, and all that stuff had been kind of lost to me personally in my memory, and I was like, I don't really remember, but this brought all those memories back, so I was like, oh shit, I remember, how I was like this in the fandom, and everyone wanted to be horse famous, and about, all the big names being highly respected, and fans evangelizing to the content creators. It was really crazy. I loved it.
Cool. So, moving on, You Do Not Have Time, which I have dubbed Digi Does Math on Life, and it's also I guess a sort of drama video.
drama video.
Like he's calling out this Brazilian guy, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, the Brazilian guy.
I don't know. This video gave me the scares, so I didn't want to watch too much of it. But then I did watch it all.
No, I love the concept of ego death and of finality, and sort of like casual nihilism, and this struck that chord perfectly. So, in this one, he talks about basically what this Brazilian guy was talking about is that the fact that Digi doesn't do the 3-episode rule, and he was criticizing Digi that you could just spare an hour for a show, and that's all you need. Like, how do you not have time to spare an hour for every show you watch? And I guess that fueled Digi's like ego a bit, and he started just going crazy with the math.
Started doing math.
You know what this video did for me is that it brought back bad memories of a time 3 years ago when my life was consumed by League of Legends for about 2.5 years, and League of Legends stole my life away during high school. And I was like, God damn it! All the hours I spent with that stupid game. Fuck you. I don't want to do the math.
I mean, I sort of relate to that because I've spent nearly or more than 2,000 hours. I mean, obviously not comparable to your amount on League, but I remember spending 2,000 hours on TF2 and how much I'm like I could have done anything else, literally.
Yeah.
But like seeing the hours of your life, of your entire life, divided and reduced, and just constantly like, oh, you got less hours. Oh, now you got less hours and less hours and less and less and less. That was really, it brought me back to those feelings that I got while listening to his insomnia analysis and his more darker stuff in the After Dark channel. I loved it. I thought it was one of his best videos, his best vlogs in a while. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Laffer, anything?
I have like 2 really minor criticisms of it. Like I agree with everything that you said already, but the first one is that he started counting from when you're 14 years old, and he said that like you don't get your own schedule before that. I kind of disagree. I think that you can start choosing the art that you consume before you're 14 years old, maybe beginning from like when you're, I'd say at the latest 12. So that's a nitpick.
Yeah, I guess.
Like you get 2 extra years. And the other one was that he said that it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to figure out that some guy is schizophrenic. Like, he's talking about, like, you don't need to spend an hour with an anime. You could just spend, like, 5 minutes and decide, okay, I don't like it. I was thinking of one of the Let's Plays with Vic and Hope back in the Splatoon Let's Play. Have you heard it, Ghuntz?
I don't follow Vic and Hope, no.
Alright. Well, there's this Let's Play with, where they're talking about Mayor Ben. He claims to be like a mayor candidate, and so he wanted Vic to do a photo shoot for him, like just to take mayorly looking pictures.
Oh yeah, because isn't Vic like a film student?
Yeah, he's a photographer. He's graduated. He's a full-fledged photographer now.
Oh, nice.
So as it turns out, I think it took them like a night, like a whole night. And as it turns out, this Mayor Ben guy, he actually is schizophrenic, or like he has some sort of mental illness. And so bringing it back to Digi's point, this is like the exception to the rule. It took him a couple of hours to figure out that this guy's schizophrenic. He's not just legitimate and genuine.
So what you're saying is that because sometimes it can be hard to figure out people, anime deserves time to be figured out as well.
Well, I'm just saying that his example isn't that well thought out.
I guess. Okay, so yeah, those 2 nitpicks out of the way. I think they're cool. It was a really nice little deep dive into Vic and Hope there you had.
Yeah, it's an ad for Vic and Hope. If anyone here is not listening to it, then go and listen to it.
Cool. So we move on to Manga Mondays, and it's Velveteen and Mandala and Disappearance Diary. Now, do we have anything to say about these two specifically? Because we already talked about Manga Mondays broadly on the last episode.
Yes. Both of these were similarly fascinating in the sense that they explored some kind of dissonance with society or insanity in some way. Velveteen and Mandala just being an all-out just scatological shock and violence and sexual manga, and Disappearance Diary being this very sort of tonally dichotomous in nature story of this guy who just ran away from his house because he was depressed with his life, but the manga itself being like this classic like 50s and 60s manga style. It was really fascinating to read about it, and I mean to hear about it, and it inspired me to purchase it, and I've been enjoying the hell out of Disappearance Diary myself. I think it's great, even if it does feel weird, but it feels weird for me in a good way, much like Digi described. Velveteen and Mandala, though, I found fascinating, mostly because I'm such a big fan of like exploitation movies and old style gore, so that piqued my interest in that scenario too. And I find it interesting that Digi's now going towards more experimental manga and more out there stuff, because I remember when he started it was very much a Yuri thing. Like there's a lot of Yuri manga in the early Manga Mondays, but now it's these, I don't know what to expect from it. Every single week he's pulling out this weird obscure manga that has some strange theme or tone that I've never seen before, and it makes every video feel fresh and a good way of discovery for manga.
Cool. Laffer, got anything?
Sorry, no, I don't have any. I've watched them both, but no thoughts.
Yeah, cool.
I love them.
So, moving on, we have the Insufferable Social Media Argument 16, which was set in the future. It's really cool that they found that recording from the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it's number 17 with Asterius Kokonos as a guest. Should I start?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Man, the future one was fucking funny. I love the concept of it. I love that they went that fucking bonkers with a random ass idea that was tossed out at them. It's one of the best things. I think it's the best episode of the podcast just because they stick to their fucking guns so much on being this weird fucking future idea. It really sells the insanity of the podcast, because the podcast is already structured around these ridiculous concepts, right? You're supposed to be as out there as possible, and then you just make it even more out there, so it's like it goes to the next level of stupid insanity, and I love it. It's great.
This one for me was up there with one of the best. I still like their first episode the most, mostly because I saw it while I was on some substances, but anyway. But this one was again great just because of they stick to their guns and they constantly come up with hilarious stuff every single moment. Every single idea that they come up with it has relation to their previous episodes, but also makes sense from like the future standpoint, and it's all a big joke, and it's great.
When he brought up the poop bridge, I fucking lost it. That was so fucking funny.
Jesus Christ.
Hippo once said, I don't know where, but Hippo said in something that he really liked Insufferable Social Media Argument because he doesn't think Digi is a very funny person, but in Isma, he thinks Digi is legitimately funny, and it confuses him how Digi can be this funny. And I also agree that this is by far the funniest thing Digi's ever done.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything, Laffer, about the future one?
You've covered it already.
Good. So Asterius Kokonos, he actually got on the show, the fucking madman from New York.
on a shitty phone mic on the fucking street. What the hell?
It's the most mysterious thing he's ever done.
And then he
Jesus.
just kept walking.
Dude,
Like, he was
Wasn't
just-
he like talking with people on the street?
yeah, he was. Dude, when they told him to like, dude, I think you should turn around. You've gone into some bad areas, man.
He's gonna get mugged on the podcast.
It's like one of those old Pokemon Go live streams where the dude gets mugged on his phone playing Pokemon Go on Twitch. But instead it's just doing a podcast. Man, that shit's insane.
So one of the most frustrating aspects of this podcast was that the structure that Isma has was completely broken to fuck by Asterios. Like, he was just talking about whatever the hell was on his mind.
Yep.
They tried to maintain it, but
I felt Monkey's helplessness.
Yeah.
He's like struggling to get back to schedule because I feel like Monkey's always been the guy who runs the show, right, and tries to keep it in line. But then he's always having to deal with Digi not being prepared and not sticking to this format and everything. And now Asterios comes in and just this final kick that just shoves Monkey to the floor and is like, sit down, there is no structure to this shit.
God damn, Asterios. Fuck.
It was just funny.
Yeah, it was great.
alright. I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm gonna have to leave now.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it's been
Yeah, that's
great.
cool.
Thanks for having me on here.
No, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I'll see you later, I guess.
Yeah, see you around.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
So, Laffer leaving the show now. We should be moving on to the CRX lightning round.
All right.
So, watching this thing, like,
It was a surprise that it came out, first of all.
yeah, I thought that they wouldn't release it. I don't know why I thought that, but I guess because they didn't release the other Digi thing, I thought maybe they'd give it to him or something. But they put it out, and the first thing I heard about this was Digi tweeted that he thought it was hilarious that they made an entire graphic to hide his fucking Takare.
Yes.
God fucking damn it, Crunchyroll. There's a limit. It's awesome that they did it, but like, why did they have to do it?
He also cursed during the video. He said like asshole, and they didn't do anything with that.
Yes.
But they censored his Takare.
Oh fuck, it was so good.
Also,
Yeah, go
the
on.
fact
Go on.
the fact that it's much longer than any of the other lightning rounds.
Yep. It's not really a lightning round.
Nope.
It's like a slow car crash.
Yeah, he said on Twitter that it was either on Twitter or on Discord that it was intentional. That he spoke with such speed because he didn't want them to cut out anything. So you get these long ass takes of Digi just talking about the concept of the question, not actually answering the question that was given to him, but analyzing the nature of the question. Like,
it's the
that's
most
the most
Digi thing you could
Digibro
do.
thing ever.
It feels so good because it feels like this is exactly the kind of video Crunchyroll did not want with their lightning round, but it's great and I love the video.
Yeah. Also, the fact that he keeps recommending, he either recommends or mentions shows that like nobody in their right minds on the Crunchyroll audience would ever fucking hear of.
Dude, I was waiting for him to be just toss out a recommendation to Mad Bull or Garza's Wing. I was sitting there the whole way. There was like, oh, it's coming. Something like this should be appearing soon. Like, imagine if he just recommended Mad Bull in the middle of a Crunchyroll interview. That'd be the funniest shit ever. He cut himself short of that, I think. Like, he did say in the comment section to the old video, to the last podcast we did, that he wasn't limited by Crunchyroll at all, basically. And I think that's nice that they let him be the freak that he wants to see. But it's still funny to have the mindset that Crunchyroll's panicking over Digibro. Like, oh my god. Even if like maybe Mouse isn't panicking, his staffers just feel like they sit there, like their head in their hands on the desk going, Oh my god, what am I gonna do about this guy?
It's that visual of seeing Giguk and seeing Canepa with their cleaned up attitudes, and then you got this guy.
The gremlin shows up.
It's that one moment of realization that this guy is the most popular or one of the most popular ones out there, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh.
it's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh boy. So what I think my favorite line in this interview though was when they said describe in 3 words, and he just went aesthetic is narrative, and I just could see the mic drop.
Yeah. He's like, oh, mind blown.
It was so good, man. That mic drop was great. So finally, on this little roundup, we have the Digi Gets Mail number 20, a 10 AM baseball shorts. It was cute. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like
it was
Digi Gets
cute.
Mail. It's something I was always looking forward to when it was a more common thing. I know I really love that I sent in a package one time in number 17. And it's just this nice way of seeing Digi, because in these videos, Digi's like a kid at Christmas, man. Especially in this latest one, he's just opening up this thing, and you see this look in his eye, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that I'm actually getting things sent to me. It's so cool." And especially not a maze there as well. I feel like he's just this happy little creature who's opening these packages, and it's really wholesome and really nice. And it's just, I think it's my favorite Digibro fan interaction that he does, because it's so just nice and sweet. It fills me with joy like Ponyo.
Yeah. Plus, some of the stuff that they send him, I find cool. Like all those anime magazines that he's finally getting after like a year of asking.
Yeah, he actually got a magazine.
It makes me want to like search for them and read them, because I was a big fan of like old game magazines, so I'd be down.
Cool. So we have now finished up the content roundup rundown, and we are about an hour into the podcast. So
shit, you're right.
Yeah, we are about an hour in. We were trying to keep it cut here, but we have one more segment left that I think we can just quickly finish up and then end the show.
Yeah.
And it's the Dig In Deep segment, where we do a little deep dive into an old video of Digibro, and this time I picked out Aesthetic is Narrative. And it's just this old video that Digi did that really is, I think, the most Digi thing that he's ever put out on the main channel. If we go by the Digibro essence scale, I feel like this video is just so full of it.
It's essential to his mindset.
Yeah, it is. Like, when he said that he would describe something in 3 words, and he said aesthetic is narrative, sure, that's a great mic drop, but it's also pretty descriptive, you know? That's why it's so good. And this video, you know what I often feel gets missed with this video is that everyone celebrates the points, right? Everyone who likes this video goes like, oh, the points are really good. But I really, really, really appreciate the structure of this video, because it has these 4 parts. So he starts out with this early part, which feels a lot like a YouTube analysis video, but it's a bit more rambly, where he's talking about aesthetic in a pretty broad sense, and it feels like this wide sense argument he's making. But then he makes this great line like, oh, am I breaking a few writer's rules, referring to how rambly it is and how much he's going into these different ideas quickly. And then he just skips into this heavy analysis of a single picture, only to then, after being done with that, come out of it and then break down the breakdown in a third breakdown that breaks down the whole topic. And it's just beautiful. I love this video.
It's like he specifies talking about the picture, and then he talks about he amplifies, talks about his experience with that picture, and then he amplifies and talks about why he has the opinion of that picture, and then he amplifies all the way back about, you know, why people relate to pictures in that way, and it's this evolving video.
Yeah, and then it really ends in this really grounded place, right? With Cabaneri and Iron Fortress, where he goes about that show one more time, and it's like he takes all these points and he finds a place to relate it to anime in a very touching way. Like something that a lot of people could relate to, because at the time of making this video, Cabaneri was airing, or just finished airing, and everyone had it fresh in their mind. So he found a way to take this really deep point he was making about aesthetic and apply it to something that everyone in the anime community could understand at the time. And that's fucking magical.
Yeah. There's one aspect of it that I am kind of on, irky about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fact that he describes critique and describes like the consensus idea of critique as breaking down a story or a piece of art from a technical level and not an emotive one, and how he considers that to be the most boring form of critique. Now, this is where I sort of disagree with him in a sense, not because he's wrong for critiquing art in a more emotional and visceral sense, and looking more towards the visual aspect and all that, but it's that I feel like he sort of limits his critique to that, much in the same way that consensus critique limits their critique to just being technical. Like, I feel like a good critic should be able to balance both the emotional and visceral, and also the technical and the commonly accepted. Because he, if I, like, for example, the best way in my opinion to critique something is to both, pick apart how it works as like a story, and how it works as a, using the formula of a story, but also how it implements this emotional sense into it and this visceral sense into it. And I feel like he should be able to bounce back and forth between them.
But he does that well now, though. If you look at something like his Ponyo video, isn't that exactly what he's doing there?
I mean, yeah, but he's talking about that visceral sense, about that visceral, emotive, colorful, tonal aspect, more so than the structural, which, applies more to a film like Ponyo. But, I feel like when you take, like, for example, just to give an example, one of my favorite anime of all time is Cardcaptor Sakura, and that's a show that I feel hits that tone perfectly, that same tone that Ponyo does to him. But on a rewatch, I managed to pick apart the show on a more technical level, and that adds to my enjoyment of the show. It raises it up from just a tonal piece into a, an all-encompassing piece. But yeah, that's pretty much just the point that I had.
Okay. Yeah. Another thing I want to say about the Aestheticus Narrative video is that the voice editing is fucking killer in this one.
Yes.
Because he doesn't limit himself to anime pictures. He goes into a lot of other things. There's a lot of live action in this video. A lot of people with paintbrushes. And I think just emphasizes the point that this video is not just about anime. It's rooted in anime, as we see in the later parts when he talks about Cabaneri Iron Fortress, but the point is universal for all art, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's one of his best, and it's pretty fucking dense for a 20-minute video.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, do we have any news or goss in the Digisphere?
Not necessarily goss, but I did want to touch on one part, or one aspect, and it's this very podcast.
Okay.
Because, and this obviously got the attention of Digi. He's obviously posted it or talked about it, not only here, but on Twitter.
Okay.
He's also commented on the video, which has opened it up to a wider audience, which I find strange. And of course, we've been getting, the fair share of people who are like, "What the fuck is this? Isn't this just circle jerking?"
Like Monkey.
Yeah, like Monkey. But
Who said he wanted to puke when he realized this was a thing.
Yeah. We love you too, Monkey. Don't worry.
We love you.
But you know, I feel like a podcast like this goes in tune with the nature of Digibro. Because I mean, Digibro, like, he constantly analyzes his own stuff. He constantly goes back through, like, he has these commentaries with Devu, and he has all these videos talking about previous points that he had, and, you know, about his writing. He had this whole podcast about, you know, how to improve your writing, and when she went back through all his blog history and deconstructed all that crap. So I feel like the nature of self-awareness and self-analysis, in a way, goes in tune with that. And I feel that taking an outside perspective on his content is as much a value as taking an introspective one from his point of view. You know? Because, of course, Digi, you know, he knows what he writes. He knows why he writes it. But you don't often know how... He doesn't often know how everyone else takes it. He seems to be sometimes at odds with the way that his content is perceived, which he's expressed in videos like The Meta Hole and in other stuff, in other vlogs. So I feel like this podcast's existence isn't unnecessary or unwarranted. I feel like it fits into the nature of Digibro and how he looks at his own content.
Yeah, I also just... Because a lot of times in Digibro's YouTube comment section, where it's not just the patrons, there's a lot of dumb critique of his stuff. Because a lot of people don't watch all of his shit and don't really understand the narrative of all of Digibro stuff, and a lot of people just aren't actually fans. They just want to watch a video about the anime they like. So I just like putting out the perspective of people who are really sold on Digibro as a person and as an artist. I think that's really interesting. Because we are not the majority of Digibro's fans. We are, if anything, the minority, I feel, the patrons.
Yep.
But we are the people who watch fucking everything or close to it. And I feel that perspective is often lost in the greater Digibro discussion. Sure, we have our own Discord where everyone's constantly happy and enjoying stuff, but when it comes to the YouTube comment section and even places like his Reddit board, sometimes it's a lot more it's not as deep into his shit a lot of times, and it's not as just appreciative, I feel.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put out our perspective. That's sort of why I'm making this. It's also fun to talk, so that's why I'm making this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a final goss, because there is actually a little bit of goss.
Oh, there is?
You guys should all be patrons of Digibro and come into the Discord, because every now and then, just like in politics or big businesses, the Digibro Incorporated has spies in it that sometimes leak shit. And
oh yeah.
and
yeah.
Davu is on the side of the patrons, and it's great. Davu, we love you. Man,
you fucking madman.
I think Davu's my favorite part of the Discord. Whenever he comes in, he goes on these insane rants, and he's just showing himself to be this insane Digibro fan as well. He's seen almost everything he does, and he talks about Digibro content a lot, and it's great. And I love him. He's great. Yeah.
When Davu goes into a rant in this Discord, you cannot stop him.
Nope.
At all.
You know, there's this point when Davu's making an argument. I've made a fucking science out of how Davu makes arguments. Because he'll start out by just rambling and rambling and rambling, and it's all these ideas just tossed out. And slowly, the ideas that have different targets, they flow together into one theme. And then he'll go like, wait, I have an example. And that's when you know, oh, Davu figured out what his actual opinion is. And so he will, and his example is always this metaphor, right? So he takes an example of One Piece, and then One Piece of media, and he completely accurately describes his point through this thing. And then he takes out like 3 other examples, and he links to relationships. He's like, so this is my idea. And then you just see this complete thing that is his point, and it all makes sense. And I love it, because it's this chaos that just slowly condenses into one singular object that is just so tightly pressed together, and that is just the final argument. And it follows this exact pattern every time.
It's like a written version of one of his Devu Goes to Saturn videos.
Yep. So, Devu, you make the Discord great, and everyone should join and be a patron.
Oh, one more thing before we go.
Yeah.
This video has an intro.
Oh, yeah!
And, yeah.
I cut together an OP for our podcast, and I fucking love it. It's great. Hope you guys also enjoyed it. I'll play it at the end as well. So that we both start and end on the same little trudelutt, as we say in Swedish.
Yeah.
Well then, hope you enjoyed the ED, that is also the OP, and see you around, boys.
Later.
Anime is a Japanese colloquialism. This is a chicken salad sandwich on a bagel. I'm going to review it.
The industry can fucking burn if it's going to have these terrible ideas, you know? Maybe the industry deserves to die.
Look at these fucking idiot teenagers.
This punk bitch motherfucker.
I am a human machine. Can't fucking do it anymore.